let's jump into this just straight up with Jonathan Taylor. We have been talking about this. We had no idea when we started asking running backs from Miles Sanders to Christian McCaffrey back in the spring, I believe May. Late April, early May, when we were talking to these running backs, had no idea that the running back market story would become the story of the football non-playing training camp preseason. But here we are with a young running back who led the league in rushing 2 years ago, coming off an injury-marred season, but the entire Colts season last year was mired and marred by whatever you want to name. Injuries, quarterbacks, rotating, interim coach who's never done it before. I mean, what a holy heck of a mess of a season last year the Indianapolis Colts had. And Jonathan Taylor, along with Anthony Richardson, one thought, a great backfield combination for years to come. And Jonathan Taylor and the Colts are at an impasse that just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And yesterday, after Jonathan Taylor left camp for treatment on an ankle, that's weird. Then he comes back and he's still not ready to perform after said treatment. That's weird. Then he's out there on the field just standing there with a scowl on his face every single time we show a photograph of him, and he is one of the most delightful humans out there. And the Colts know this. They know what a find they got in Jonathan Taylor in the second round of a draft. But when you draft someone in the second round, you don't have a fifth year of contractual control, which means this fourth year is when rubber meets the road. And he wants to be paid. Problem is, running backs in this day and age are not going to get what they're worth unless they're Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry. And even if those guys were up right now, would they get that money? Don't know. But Jonathan Taylor, amongst all, we had Peter King on yesterday, and he was just with the Colts, and he's like, I kind of think that they're going to flip him some money at the end of this summer, and he'll be happy out there in week one. And that's entirely possible that it's still happening. But yesterday, Jonathan Taylor was finally given permission to go seek a trade by the Indianapolis Colts management. Go for it. Jeez. The door is open for you to leave if that is what you want. It sure seems like that's what you want. So we're going to give you the opportunity to go find that deal. And, of course, your first thought is, well, Colts are letting him leave. He's gone. He gone. Now, two things. One, you know Jonathan Taylor's not serious unless he flies to China and says he will never play on a franchise that Chris Ballard is the general manager of.
Let him repeat that.
Just go, let him repeat that. So, did he say it in China? He doesn't have a beard like James Harden. But Harden's not getting traded just yet either in the NBA, and there is news on that front we'll talk about later on in the show. But seriously, you sit here, my first thought is he's gone. Until you just sit and let it settle. The Chargers did the same thing with Austin Eckler. Hey, we love you. You're incredible. You are our guy. My gosh, are you our guy? But are we going to pay you like you're the man? We don't have to. And so we're not going to. So you want out? There's the door. Seek the trade. And he didn't find one. And that was back in the spring. This is now 19 days before the start of the regular season first week. Less than that if you want to talk about opening night. 2 weeks from Thursday. And then talk about a tough spot. Despite how great Jonathan Taylor is, despite how amazing a human he is, despite the fact that this is who you want to build teams around, rosters are getting set. Guys that got drafted in the 5th and 6th rounds or 4th rounds or 3rd rounds that teams hope can prove out at this position. After they draft him in April and you want to maybe, still sign somewhere, at least at that point in time, these teams don't know what these running backs may look like. They don't know how they're going to respond to hard coaching or training camp or preseason action. Now they do. Now they're like, we believe in you. So what, they're going to just turn around and make a trade for Jonathan Taylor despite how good he is? They're really going to do that? And you could sit here and go, absolutely you're going to do that. And I'm one of those people that this guy can play for me. But the Miami Dolphins just didn't sign Dalvin Cook because they might think Devin A-Chain is the guy along with the rest of that running back room. They're going to go ahead and flip the draft capital and the actual capital, Stephen Ross dollars that will be required to bring in Jonathan Taylor. One would think this is a two-pronged process. Do you want him? And how much will you pay him? I don't think he's just going to show up on a new team and not sign for something new. So the fact that the Colts are like, there's the door, doesn't mean that they are going to lose him. Because that door opens up into a very uncertain world for Jonathan Taylor in this running back market. 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks before the beginning of a season. And then you hear the reports of what Chris Ballard rightfully wants for Jonathan Taylor because of what he's worth. And Tom Pelissero, our good friend and frequent guest host here, says they want Christian McCaffrey type return. And the Panthers got 4 draft picks in the middle of last season for McCaffrey, including a second rounder, and the Colts would want more. And he points out one reason that it's going to be tough to find a trade partner, though all it takes is one. Don't forget, Tim Tebow was a first-round draft choice because Josh McDaniels said, okay. Johnny Manziel, who's the documentarian star of the moment. Browns are like, yeah, he's a first-rounder. All it takes is one. That's correct. But that is an insane amount. If you're gonna, so you are what? Even the Bears. You're seeing right now, Bears. You're seeing also folks are like, Chiefs. Could you imagine the Chiefs with this guy? Are they really, as Chris Jones is sitting at home saying, I want my money, and they're holding the line on Chris Jones?
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to go trade for Jonathan Taylor, flip a 1 or whatever the Colts are going to accept for him, right, and pay Jonathan Taylor what he wants while Chris Jones wants his money? Bears fans, really? Really? After you saw Khalil Herbert take one to the house in a preseason game, and I know it's just a preseason game, I get it. But that's just the thinking here. You think Ryan Poles is going to call up Chris Ballard today and say, yeah, you got it. McCaffrey return? I've got the draft picks from Bryce Young. I got it to give you. I'm going to use it on Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor on the Bears sounds great. Jonathan Taylor is exactly the type of bell cow back that Chicago would adore. Right there in Big Ten country where he showed everybody, although not well enough to be a first-round draft choice, what he can do. But the reality is, right before they're taking on the Green Bay Packers, Ryan Poles is going to stop everything and go, we are going to be trading all of this capital. Let's get Jonathan Taylor here, and let's fit him in the salary cap. Is it possible? Could the Bears be that one? Maybe. But that is a tough piece of timing for Jonathan Taylor in this market to be shown the door for him to explore now is kind of tough, which leads me to this final point. So running backs in this league are valued right up until the time that they want to get paid as such. And when they say they want to get paid as such and want to find the spot where they can get paid as such, commensurate to their value, a team will allow them to seek that trade. But place upon the team that wants to acquire this player and perhaps pay said player the value that the player is looking for. They will value the player in terms of draft choices at the level that the player says, oh, pay me at that level. No, we won't pay you at that level, but we'll value you at that level in draft choices to the point where you won't find the partner to pay you. Because they might be willing to pay you that money as a free agent, but that money on top of the draft capital? I don't think we can do that. 3 weeks before the season.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan Taylor, we're just not going to pay you because Jim Irsay won't or whatever. I don't know what's going on there.
It's weird.
Because they know what they have in Jonathan Taylor and who they have in Jonathan Taylor. But Jonathan Taylor says, pay me as such. The answer is no. Let me go seek a trade. Okay. But the trade is commensurate to the value that normally would be associated with the salary you want that we won't give you. And this is why, and you're wondering why running backs are pissed off and zooming with each other.
Pissed off and zooming?
Pissed off and zooming is a great fantasy team name, and I might just have christened our team as such. Honestly, I want to get paid. No, I want to get traded. Okay, well, no one's going to want me because you're valuing me at a certain level.
Right.
Well, that's how much you're worth. Well, then give that to me in terms of salary. No. Come back and play for us. Okay. Then I'll do it again. And then I'll ask for the salary. And here's your franchise tag. Of course they're pissed.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Honestly. But the reason why they're doing it is because they can. So I think Jonathan Taylor is going to run into some headwinds. Some headwinds. He's going to have to break some tackles here to get where he wants to go. He's good at that. But if you're acquiring him, you're like, okay, so you need a treatment on your ankle? Yeah, that was just for me to make my point. Because if I didn't do that, I couldn't get the trade opportunity that's here. So you want me? I'm fine. Trust me, I'm good. All right. How much? That much? Okay. Well, now that we've agreed, get Chris Ballard on the horn. I want a hamburger. I want a cheeseburger.
You'll get nothing like it.
That's the state of play. Honestly, I saw that trade demand. I'm like, well, they're really going to let him go. Okay. No, they're not. They would if somebody, because you never know. You never know. Again, I'm sorry, Browns fans. Your owner looked at Johnny Manziel and like, that's a first-round draft choice. Maybe they find somebody like that.
You want odds, Rich?
Go for it.
All right, if not the Colts, which team will Taylor take his first snap with this year? The Dolphins are your favorites.
But why would they do that if they had Dalvin Cook right there?
Because Jonathan Taylor's better than Dalvin Cook.
I get it. I understand that he is. He's younger. I understand that. But if $5-6 million, what the Jets signed him for, was too rich for their blood, then $10 million, $11 million, he's going to want the market value that he deserves.
I get it. Unless it's a 1 year, $8 million prove it deal.
Prove it.
The Bears 4-1. Ravens 7-1.
Ravens, come on.
Broncos and Cowboys 7.5-1.
The Broncos aren't a bad choice. Cowboys.
Now that's the one right there, baby.
We just
go get them.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.